Alright guys, it's Chatterbox Reviews, coming at you guys with Ozark, Season 1, Episode 8 review. Alright, so, I don't know, I don't even know what to say, honestly. I mean, I've heard, obviously, I'm taking my time with this, right? This came out, probably about 2 months ago, right? From when I'm making this, it's September 20th, so almost 2 months. And yes, so I know I'm taking a long time on it, and I really apologize for that. It's just, I've just gone really not, like, I'm just not interested in it as much as I was at first. At first, I'm like, I watched, I think, those 4 episodes in a matter of a week. And now I've watched the next 4 in, like, a matter of a month and a half. So, that's just what it is. Like I said, though, I do have a lot of other shows, so it's not just that. But anyways, yeah, this episode was a big disappointment for me, and I'm gonna be honest. I am honest in these, and that's just my honest opinion. It was a disappointment. Worst episode of the season so far, by a lot, I'd say. Yeah, I just thought, like, I liked their like intentions here. They had really good intentions, but they executed it like the totally wrong way, in my opinion. I thought it was the worst episode of the season, and hopefully the worst of the series. I heard episode 9 and 10 are, like, amazing, so I kind of get that, right? But I really think that also this episode should have been placed, like, either episode 3 or 4, or maybe even 2 for that matter. I don't know why. Like, we're getting the story right, really, we're getting into it now. Episode 7 wasn't bad. I thought it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. The story's running, pretty fast. We're getting faster pace now. I mean, the finale, I'm all excited. And then they dropped this on us. So, I really didn't get it at all, to be honest with you. I thought that the second episode, it would have been perfect to do. Maybe the third episode as well. So, I don't know. I just really, really didn't like it. I was watching it, and I was on my phone during it, like, and that usually doesn't happen with me, but I was on my phone. I couldn't just watch the screen, right? Like, I just couldn't do it. So yeah, I don't know, that's just my opinion here. Obviously I got more of my thoughts at the end with the rating and that stuff, but yeah. So just go over a quick recap again. Not much happened. We did learn some stuff, but then again, like, this is supposed to be an episode where we're supposed to learn stuff about the characters, learn the background. And I find myself coming out of this episode with learning about two things, right? Why Marty started working with Dell, and then, the other one I'll cover. But I don't know. I thought it was probably, one of the worst, the worst end result of a flashback episode I've ever seen. So, yeah, that's just, anyways, let's just get into this recap, and then I'll share more of my thoughts. So, yeah, whole episode is a flashback. There's no, and I mean none, current times or events happening in this episode. So there's not even 1 second of current time events happening. So yeah. So then we also find out that it happened in 2007, and I think the show is supposed to be a modern show. So I think we're supposed to think that's about 10 years ago. And it wouldn't make sense because they say Charlotte is 5 in this, and she's now 15. So yeah, that would make perfect sense that it's 10 years. And yeah, so definitely cool that they gave us that time period, and they used Charlotte as well for that. But yeah, I'm not sure if everyone caught that. So we start out with the episode that Marty and Wendy get in this car accident, with this guy, and he runs into Marty and Wendy in the car, and they're talking about Wendy, making a decision over something. And she's, upset about, him not taking it seriously or something like that. So obviously you find out later what the decision is, that, they actually, it's a them decision, right? It's not her, something about her, but yeah. So the crash looks pretty bad, right? And that's sort of like the main first event of this episode. And yeah, I thought that was an interesting scene, but I just didn't understand at all the way they tried to bring this all together. But anyways, so then Dell meets with Marty and Bruce at their firm there, and I think we get the impression that the firm's pretty new at this point as well. So Dell kind of, hops on them pretty quickly, and they don't have a lot of clients too, right? So that kind of sways their options here. They really want, his big company because he has a lot of money, and maybe they haven't made a lot of money yet from these clients. So he wants Marty to take a look at his portfolio, so that we can see, or that he can see, sorry, what kind of assets he has and all that, what he needs to do. But then also before that, we see Dell going to different firms beforehand. So so he's kind of going firm to firm, trying to get a new money launderer. Really, obviously, we already know that, but if this was an episode standing alone, we of course wouldn't know that yet. But kind of led to believe that a little bit, right? Of course, because we know exactly what Marty was. So so he's basically looking for a new money launderer, and he's trying to get the firm to help him out, basically. So then this whole storyline was just really unnecessary. I thought it took up almost half the episode, and I didn't really need to see more than one scene of it. I'm gonna be honest. So basically, Roy Petty. So he had a big part in this episode, and I just thought it was totally not relevant. So he meets with this Louise guy, who does come back later on, so I thought that was good. At the park where his kid is playing, and we have a funny scene there. Louise tells his own kid to shut up or something, so that was kind of funny. And then the other guy says, "Come on, man," or whatever, so it's kind of funny. But basically, we find out that Roy Petty has information on him and wants him to be an informant on Dell and that group, so that he can have his freedom, basically. And he, this Louise guy basically agrees because he doesn't really have any other option. He can't do anything else. And so he agrees to be an informant on them. And so then we see the next scene that Roy brings the case to his boss. And is doubted, really, like we kind of see that he's not really appreciated in his firm, or not his firm, I guess, his office per se. So we kind of just see, that his boss doesn't really care about, what he's trying to do, bust a money launderer and in Dell and like a cartel guy. And the boss says the government's focused on Bin Laden. So that was, I don't know, kind of interesting, right, to see, but, like kind of a funny thing for him to say, although not really, right, because at the time, of course, that's just sort of, what was really going on, so I like that they kind of used real depiction there. So then, and they also use real depiction there when they talk about Obama being the president and then Bush, so I like that a lot of shows cop out and use like fake presidents, right? They never say real presidents' names, and they actually do in this one. So, yeah, I'm not sure why a lot of shows cop out like that and don't mention, or they they have a woman president on the show or whatever. So instead, I mean, I get that point of view, but I also like this as well. So then we see Marty, Del, Bruce, and a couple of other of Dell's guys, including Louise, of course, who we know now is this informant. And they're bonding together, playing golf on a vacation. So this part was like the most confusing to me. I thought the time skips in this episode just were way too confusing. Maybe some of you guys got it, and then you really appreciated it once you started to understand. And I did too at the very end. Very end of the episode. I'm talking last 2 minutes or last 4 minutes. Then I got it, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. But, like, the whole episode, I didn't get that. I didn't understand when these events were happening, where, like, I don't know. So, it's confusing time skips throughout, and yeah, like, I didn't know until the end what was going on. So, this whole thing with them playing golf is like, Dell was just in asking him to check out his portfolio, and now they're playing golf. Like, I don't know. I didn't really understand it, of course, but it is, we find out, a time skip into the future a little bit. So, yeah. So then, this part, I'm just going to summarize it real quickly. Roy Petty basically deals with his mom. That's literally, I would say, a third of the episode is him dealing with his mother. And, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of relevant, right? But not really. So, I just want to mention, by the way, I've seen other people talking about this too, so it's not totally my opinion here, but the actress looks like Roy's real mother. Honestly, like Jason Butler Harner, who plays Roy Petty, the actress who's playing his mother in the show actually looks like Jason's mom. Honestly, like, they look so alike. And if you search it up, they're not related. But amazing, like, cast for her. She actually looks like his real mom, so I thought that was really great casting there. I just want to mention that. But yeah, basically she has this drug addiction that they find out, and she falls and breaks her ankle or her leg or something, multiple times, or I guess just once, and then you kind of see the after effects of it. Um, and he kind of has to care for her and help her out in a lot of ways. But it also shows, I think the whole part of it was to show his tough upbringing, why he's kind of like well, I wouldn't call him a freak, but he is a little off, right? He's a little weird. So maybe they're trying to show us why he's like that, because of this upbringing about how he had to care for his mom instead of the other way around like it is usually. So yeah, I mean, for sure. And I mean, like, I shouldn't say that, right? Because, kids take care of their parents, but, usually a lot later in life. I mean, his mom, I think, in this is supposed to be, like, maybe 50, 60 tops, right? So she's, not that old, and she, has these drug problems, right? So, and I did like that they introduced, like, his boyfriend. So they showed that, he has been, like, basically gay since, for forever, right? So that was interesting to see that background. And then when he walks in the restaurant there, like, he's kind of judged for it back in 2007. I thought that was a pretty realistic depiction. That's definitely how it was. And yeah, so that was kind of cool. And the actor who played the boyfriend was good as well. So yeah, then we're back on vacation, and Marty then is having this drink with Dell, that Dell invites him down to the lobby. He confronts him and kind of figures out he's laundering money, right? He kind of gets to the bottom of it after he looks at his portfolio. So then Dell asks him to work for him, gives him a great offer, and he says, you can be my new guy to launder money. And I think he said, like, it'll be like $8 million or something like that, just of a salary or whatever. So basically Marty then tells Bruce about it afterwards, and yeah, so he doesn't accept or decline the offer right away. But yeah, so he says that Bruce says it won't happen because Wendy won't agree with it, right? And he basically has to pass everything by Wendy, we learn. So yeah, I thought we could have saw more of Bruce this episode too. Like, I didn't even think he had many lines. So yeah, I would have liked to see more of him. I mean, he died, I think, but like 10 minutes in to this episode, 15 minutes in. To episode 1. So I would have liked to see more of him, explain why he kind of joined Marty a little bit more, but, whatever. So, he says Wendy's not going to agree with it. So Marty then asks Wendy later on this, on the vacation there on the couch. And, yeah, that was a pretty good scene. I did enjoy that. One. I thought it was an iconic scene for the series as well. If this, goes forward, a lot, then for sure this is going to be a very iconic scene, right? The moment that Wendy agreed to it, and they're both kind of in for it. So yeah, I thought that was a good scene, and I like the actors too. Laura Linney and Jason Bateman did a great job in this scene. Really great job. So basically, eventually Wendy kind of submits to it. Marty says, we wouldn't have to worry about money again ever, and obviously that really gets to her. She likes that idea, and yeah, so she agrees to accept Dell's offer, and Marty agrees. So they agree to basically launder his money, and to take this offer from Dell. Which I don't think they really could have said no, right? But, this just kind of shows that morally, they are the ones who decided to take this offer, right? They weren't forced into it. Technically, I think they would have been if they said no. But, that they made this decision. So, yeah, so I thought, obviously surprising, but the circumstances kind of all lined up just right for them to make, this kind of tough decision. So, yeah. So then, this was an interesting scene as well. So basically Marty, accepts this, Dell's offer, of course, with Bruce. He goes and, he goes to this little place where Dell's hanging out with his guys, and, he tells him that he's going to accept the offer. So then right away, Dell fires, Louise from his duties, right on spot there, when Marty walked in. And then Dell reveals that he knows that Louise has been working with the feds, right? That he's, been doing all this shady stuff. And we find out why Dell wanted Marty to check his portfolio was because Louise was enhancing, the amounts or something like that, so the cops could catch on and try to get Dell. So it's kind of Louise's, secret plan here, to do the whole thing, and of course Dell finds this out, and yeah, so the next part was really kind of the another good part of this episode. Really, there wasn't many, but this was one of them, where the men just choke him out right away. I mean, it was just all of a sudden, and then so yeah, they choke him out, and then once he kind of gives up and dies there, then they cut out his eyeballs after he's dead. So that was a gruesome scene. And then they show, Louise without eyeballs, the body just, yeah, I don't know. It was really gruesome, obviously. But, yeah, Marty watches it and he's, pretty shook up about it, right? He's like, come on, like, do we have to see something like that? And obviously, Dell, we see what kind of guy he is, right? Making first impressions on Marty and Bruce, right? Why would Bruce even steal $8 million after he saw that? Still a good question, right? So, and Bruce didn't even look, right? He looked away at this. So, I thought it was kind of funny as well, but. Then, this was one of the other part that I kind of learned from this episode was, Dell says then to keep the eyeballs for a rainy day, because the one guy, says, what should we do with these? For a rainy day, right? And so, a couple episodes ago, when Marty got this jar of eyeballs mailed to him in the Ozarks, it all connects back. So those were the eyeballs from this guy. That's why Marty reacted the way he did. And I thought that was probably the best connection of this all, just that. And that wasn't even that big of a thing, right? It was like one scene in the whole series. So, I don't know. It didn't really explain that much, but I thought that was a good connection that all connected back. So that was good to see, those eyeballs again, saved for a rainy day, and then it ended up that he used them on Marty, and Marty was there on his side in that, so it's kind of ironic. But yeah. So we find out Wendy is pregnant again. And so obviously, they're have to make this decision, right? If they want to have it or not. They're not sure, right? Apparently, Jonah's pregnancy wasn't great for Wendy, so she's probably leaning towards no. So yeah, they're basically debating what they want to do about the baby in the car. So I've at first kind of recognized it, but I was like, it might be a different scene of them in the car, right? But then, as it went on, I kind of, figured it out. And then, right when we get to that part where I think he, what does he say? Buddy Holly, right? He says Buddy Holly, something about him singing, and then we join that scene and we realize, okay, we're in the exact same scene that the episode started on, right? And it just eased right in, and it showed us the beginning of it, told us what this decision that they're trying to make is about the baby now. So yeah, I thought it was a great way to present this story with all these flashbacks and the time skips. But I didn't understand it until this scene. Like, I didn't understand what was going on with the events, when they were happening, where they were happening. Were they on this vacation? In the dinner scene as well, I still don't know where that was. If that was before the vacation or during or after, I don't know. So, yeah, I thought they could have done a way better job with that, less confusing. But I did like the way that they connected these back. I thought they did a great job of that. So yeah, so basically we, as we join this scene, we figure out, the whole timestamp thing and how, that one scene in the hospital where he goes and visits her, obviously that kind of happened after the crash. I still am confused though. I don't know if the whole thing with Dell happened after the crash or before. I'm not totally sure. I think it was before, but I'm not positive. But yeah, so yeah, I thought that was good, that we figured it out, but just still confusing to me. And also we kind of figure out the car crash, is pretty severe, right? We see, like the slow motion thing. I like that, the way they did that. They showed that. And they also showed, the guy in the truck and what happened with him, why he, crashed into them. So that was, that was good to show us, some more background of the crash. If they're going to focus on it, it's going to be the centerpiece of this episode. So, yeah, so this kind of, I think it confirms that the car crash was the last thing that happens in this episode. I think. So I'm not positive, but I think that's what happened. And this whole Dell thing happened before the crash. So, yeah. So anyways, yeah, that's basically the crash. And then to end off the episode, Marty goes home with Wendy to the kids. And, of course, Wendy embraces them, but we see Marty kind of standing there in the doorway and kind of, looking looking elsewhere, and seeing the kids now, I guess, and being home, you know he really and I guess they're home from the vacation now at this point. And we really just see him, I either regret, guilt or something like that he's really showing here. Oh wow, like, I have kids and stuff, what if this goes wrong, sort of thing. That's what I interpreted from it. I'm sure that people kind of maybe saw that one differently. And I thought, really the question is, was this the right move? Am I making the right decision? I think that's sort of what Marty's thinking in that situation. That's at least what I got out of that. When he comes home, because if he was in a usual mindset, he'd come in, embrace the kids just like Wendy did. But he kind of just stood there and was kind of staring awkwardly, right, thinking of about it, and he looked really like really troubled, right? So yeah, that was interesting to see that he kind of already regretted the decision a little bit and thought about it, and how he's just not just a ruthless guy who launders money for the cartel, right? I mean, a lot of stuff went into this decision, and I think that was the important part of this episode too, to show what type of character Marty is. But anyways, yeah, so that'll do it for the recap. Those are sort of the main things that I picked out of this one. And yeah, I understand it's not all of it, but not not a lot of it was relevant. So yeah. Anyways, for my rating for this episode, I'm going to be giving it a 3.2 out of 5. And yeah, this is the lowest rating by far for this show so far with me. Yeah, honestly, I felt that this summarized the episode completely truly. So the whole episode had the right intentions, just the totally wrong presentation. So I kind of came up with this, but I thought it was so true. I thought I had the right intentions, showing us a flashback, showing us, how the hell did Marty even get in this situation? How is he in this situation, where he's, trying to survive and trying to save his family from this Dell guy? We don't even know much about him. So I think they're trying to do that. They're trying to develop Roy Petty a little bit, right? Trying to get that character, trying to make more sense of him. They're, trying to show us, how this, went with Bruce and, all that stuff. I just think they totally screwed it up. Like, I thought this episode could have been way better, and it was just really boring. Honestly, like, I thought, they really could have made something better, but I've seen flashback episodes like this for other shows that try to do this, show us some of the background, show us why these characters are where they are, why they act the way they do, because, shows don't get to do that. They started with a pilot. Well, something needs to happen, right? You can't just go and say, oh, well, this happened, so now they're here, right? You can't always do that. You kind of have to, throw us into a scene and then go from there. So, yeah, I've seen shows do it before, and they've been done better, Shows been able to do it and make it entertaining, and this just didn't do that. So, that's just my opinion, obviously. But, with talking to some friends who've watched the show and, watching some stuff, reading some stuff, this, a lot of people didn't like this episode. And I can totally see that, especially, too, with, occasional fans who kind of, tune into Netflix originals. I'm talking to some of my friends that do that, and they, they're just there to see the action, the plot line, and all that. And especially, with an episode like this, they're like, what? Why are you just breaking through the story? Like, I don't need to see this, people that, don't focus too much on the characters. They just want to have a good hour of entertainment and watch, or maybe even Jason Bateman fans wanting to see him. So, stuff that, the fans that aren't too judgmental like me, really, would just kind of be disappointed generally, and I was disappointed too. So, yeah, I just thought it could have been done way better. I could, obviously, and I say all this stuff, right? I mean, these guys who made this episode, the screenwriters, the directors, all the actors in it, I can't do that, okay? Like, they, this episode is bad, way better than anything I can do. I admit that, of course, but they're held to a way higher standard, of course, right? So, that's just what it is at the end of the day. So, I think it's fair to judge, you know what I mean? Even if, you know that they're a lot better than you, and that, they're better than what you could do ever, right? So, anyways, favorite character for this one is Marty Bird. I thought, it was good to show some of his background. I thought that was the strongest part of the episode, really, to show more of Marty's character and show, why he got into this deal. And we also see, though, that he wasn't totally, not guilty in this, right? Because he was really considering it, and that's the reason why Wendy said yes, right? Because he asked her, and he kind of sold it to her. So we do see that he, kind of has a little bit of a dark side, right? He liked the idea, right? At first, he kind of declined, right? But, he starts to like the idea as the episode goes on. So I thought that was an important point to point out as well. Jace Bateman did great, of course. He did look a little bit different for this kind of flashback. Laura Linney definitely looked different. The hairstyle was definitely different. She looked a little bit younger with that, just, hairstyle. And I thought, like, her face looked younger as well. I don't know. Probably some makeup, more makeup, I guess. But I thought, Marty did look a little bit younger, but not really, right? But, I guess that's kind of a thing, right? The women are gonna, look a lot different, younger than some of the men are, I guess, and that applies to Marty. But anyways, yeah, so I thought that was good, and, I thought having the kids in the episode was okay. Obviously, I guess the actor who played young Jonah had a few lines, and I think Charlotte actually had a couple lines as well. So I like that they include the kids in it as well. I thought, at the younger kids. So, yeah, I thought that was good too. But yeah, 3.2 out of 5. I know, really low, but my honest opinion of the episode, worst episode of the season by far. But as I say, I've talked to a bunch of friends who've seen now the whole series. Don't worry, they didn't spoil it for me. I don't let them. But yeah, so, and they say the next 2 episodes are awesome, amazing. So I'm really hoping that's the truth. I've read everywhere that the finale's insane. So I just gotta bear through. I gotta watch these last 2 episodes. Expect the reviews. I'm gonna try to finish it like maybe next week. Next week I'm gonna have episode 9 and 10. That's my goal. To get those 2 up, and then after that I may do like a season recap or something like that. I may not though, even because it's been 2 months. So I don't know if people are still interested in that. If you want it, I guess you can comment down below as well. I mean, if I see someone commenting that they want it, I'll probably make it. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching this review. I think that's just about does it. Ozark, definitely losing interest really fast here, but I've heard a lot of good things, so of course I'm going to keep watching it and keep reviewing it for you guys. But anyways, yeah, really appreciate the support on my recent videos, The Sinner, Suits. I mean, just all of my shows that I'm doing right now, getting quite a bit of attention, so that's really great. I really appreciate that, and really makes me happy. So thanks again for watching this review, and I'll see you next time for Ozark Season 1, Episode 9.
That'll be the day when you say goodbye. That'll be the day when you make me cry.